my American friends. Every country in the Middle East is taken over by Islam. What happens? Secular laws taken out, Islamic laws introduced. The times are changed. What time? What's time? Calendar. Time. You can look at all these interpretations as times. Let's see. He changes the cosmos, the planetariums. You're waiting for an Antichrist. They ain't coming. He changes the times. Why? Because right now the whole world uses Anno Domini. Satan hates that. He does not like Anno Domini. Look at every single Islamic culture when they changed it, take out Anno Domini, and they enter the AH. After the hijrah of Muhammad, by the way, the calendar of Islam began not in Mecca. It began when Muhammad immigrated from Mecca to Medina, and that's where the advent of Islam began, in Medina. Why? Because Satan, when he introduced the worship of the moon god, he introduced it in Yathrib, in Medina. When? You know the story of Nebuchadnezzar? His son Nabonidus introduced the worship of the moon god from Babylonia in Arabia. That's why it's called in the Bible the daughter of Babylon, or daughter, being born from Babylon. It is another Babylonian religion. The greatest gods in the Roman Empire was also the crescent moon. In the Grecian, in the Egyptian was the sun and the moon. Mayan, all this, the worship of the moon, the symbol of Satan, was prevalent from Babylonia. It's a Babylonian religion. What is this whole thing about being a Babylonian religion? What happened in Babylonia? Let's think for a minute. What happened in Babylonia? What happened? What did Nimrod do? What did this ziggurat all about? Tower of Babel. What happened in the Tower of Babel? What did they say? Let us make a name for ourselves. Let's build a name for ourselves. Build a kingdom, a name. Let's take tar, asphalt, and bricks. And they use tar and bricks to build the ziggurat. What are the Muslims saying today? Let us use oil. We have a few years left. Let us use the oil and build Islam as a name for us all over the world. And they're using the oil. And where is it coming out of? Saudi Arabia again. And they're trying to reverse what God has done in the Bible, where He scattered the people and made them different languages. Now you Christians translate the Bible to all these languages, go through all this tedious work. Why don't you just write it in English and unite the world under English? Because you know that God doesn't want that. God does not want to bring everybody under one language. No Muslim can worship Allah without worshiping Him in Arabic language. Only via the Arabic. That's why Afghans speak Arabic, Iranians speak Arabic. One language. One nation called the Nation of Islam, Ummah. One law. One government system for the whole world. The Americans are waiting for the one world government. Here it is. Changing the times, the laws, no respect for women. The end justifies the means. There is no respect for borders. And we'll behead you with no problems in front of the internet camera. And the Antichrist honors the god of fortresses or the god of war. Who's honoring the god of fortress? The god of war. Jew? No. Well, wait a minute. The Antichrist is Jew. Why? Well, Israel will not sign a peace treaty unless the Antichrist is Jew. Excuse me. They signed a peace treaty with Yasser Arafat. And he was no Jew. And he did worship a single God called Allah. Because they say, well, he does not honor the God of his fathers. Some translations have God. It's really Eloha, gods, plural. But some translations have it as God of his fathers. And since the Jews only worship the singular God, so the Antichrist must be a Jew. Well, the Muslims worship a singular God too. And he is the God of war, just like the Bible prescribed. Jews don't worship a God of war. Jews say that God is Abba, our Father. They do believe in Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit. Yet they don't believe Jesus is the Messiah, that's true. But they don't fit the bill. Neither the Catholics fit the bill. Only Islam fits the bill perfectly from all the literals. I had one debate and one scholar on television. I like the guy. He's a friend of mine too. I said, how come every time I ask you to prove to me that Rome is the harlot of Babylon and that Europe is the beast, you are always referring to an allegory? And every time that I want to prove to you that it's not Rome, it's Mecca, it's not Europe, it's the Middle East and the Muslim world, I'm always referring you to a literal. Did you get it? You ask any one of those, what's the evidence? They will always 100% give you an allegory, not a literal. You take those literals from all the Bible, from the beginning to the end, put them down, chart them out, like I said, then you superimpose them on the book of Revelation. The Bible, God did not forget to tell us about Islam. We forgot to look at what God has been trying to tell us all these years. And when we Christians complain, we don't like the media. I don't like the media. Why? Because the media has censorship. They don't let the Christians speak up. Let me tell you about Christian censorship. Christians censor more than the secular media censors. They don't want you to know that either. That's the first prophecy conference that I was allowed to confuse you with the facts. Now that you're confused with the facts, there is a blessing and there is a curse. There is a blessing, there's a curse. The blessing is you'll never be the same. You'll never be the same. You're going to tell other people